Hello, everybody. My name is Cole Butler. I'm doing my presentation on ketamine-assisted therapy groups for frontline healthcare workers and first responders. So first of all, just a brief overview. What is ketamine? So it's known as a dissociative anesthetic. It was first introduced in, I believe, 1962, around that time. And we found that at certain dosages, kind of anywhere from 0.5 milligram per kilogram to 1.5 milligrams per kilogram, it produces psychedelic-like properties. So other psychedelic agents you may have heard of, like mushrooms or LSD, it can kind of have effects like that, at least the way that we use it at higher doses. It's used as an anesthetic agent and has been for a long time. But again, in that certain window, it tends to produce these psychedelic-like properties. So having sort of an out-of-body experience, a dissociative experience is pretty common. And then, so what is ketamine therapy? So like I said, it has these psychedelic-like properties, and the way that we use it, the way that it was used in this paper, in this project, was as a therapeutic tool. So what you see in this slide, actually, the person laying down there is me, and the gentleman sitting down is my friend Jorge. And you can see in the back there, there's more people in the same position. And actually in this, I was on ketamine. So as you'll see there, I had eye shades on and headphones, and I'm laying down in a nice, comfortable position. I've got a blanket. My friend's there watching over me, making sure I'm safe, making sure my body is safe. He's there if I need him. And I'm listening to music that's carefully curated for this experience that guides me through the experience. So basically, I lay down, take ketamine, and it's in my system for about an hour and a half. I may see interesting images. I may experience being out of my body. I may have information come to me. I may remember memories of my childhood, maybe something very joyous or maybe something traumatic. I may look at my life in a different way. Maybe I have depression and I see that differently. There's a lot to go into, but that's kind of in a nutshell what ketamine-assisted therapy is. And then frontline healthcare workers and first responders. This may be an EMT, paramedic, firefighter, police officer, a therapist, a nurse, a doctor, kind of all of these people that are on the front lines of caring for people. So this was our population in this study, and we think it's really important to look at this population and to give them treatment, specifically because when COVID happened, these were the people really at the backbone of society, like really doing the heavy work. I mean, not to get dark, but people were dying, you know, and these people were on the forefront. They were going through their own stressors, and just in general, these are traumatic jobs. These are the people that are pulling up on the scene of really horrific accidents, horrific situations, and these people need help. And often this ketamine, we found, can be really helpful for resolving, kind of processing through some of this more difficult stuff. So group therapy, the picture here is actually the room I'm sitting in right now. This is where we do our group ketamine therapy. You see these beanbag chairs here. They're very nice. We make a nice, kind of comfortable, quiet environment. You can't really see there, but there's some candles. We have some snacks out for after the experience, some nice artwork, some nice lighting. So we basically took this ketamine-assisted therapy and put it in a group model for these frontline healthcare workers and first responders. And the group model has really been shown to help with that sense of cohesiveness and social connection. It's a 6-week group that we did with 3 ketamine sessions. And essentially, this group therapy model, there's no direct evidence on this model. There's some on ketamine groups, but not this kind of 6-week, 3 ketamine session model that we looked at, and definitely not for frontline healthcare workers and first responders. So we thought it necessary to look at this. And essentially what we looked at was anxiety, depression, and trauma. So we had questionnaires on anxiety, on depression, and trauma, hypothesizing that those symptoms would be reduced pre to post. And indeed, that's what you see here. This is my results table. We had 20 people total. So I believe that was 6 groups, maybe 5. And a couple of people didn't finish their pre-post questionnaires for depression and anxiety, but we still had enough to get statistically significant differences. You see there the mean scores, this is just total added up. At pre, so before the group started, before we did any treatment, this was the average score across all the groups. And post, we see that these scores are just cut basically in half. So we ran a repeated measures t-test and found these big t-scores, p-values all less than 0.001, very, very small p-values. Significant was anything under 0.05. And Cohen's d, a measure of effect size, was very large. So in general, kind of rule of thumb, Cohen's d of 0.2 is small, a 0.5 is medium, and a 0.8 is large. Now you have to take that into consideration of similar studies, similar effect sizes. But as we can still see, this is in general pretty large effects. So essentially, it works. However, the results are limited. We did have a small n, although it was significant, but we didn't have a placebo-controlled trial. It wasn't a randomized controlled trial. And there was so much more that was going into these groups, really. I didn't really dive into the exact methodology of the groups, but we really work to create a safe therapeutic container. Meditation goes into that, processing, sort of our integration, having, just a closed container of people, the same people you're seeing every week over 6 weeks. You're doing really intentional work. What would be really cool to me would be to test this model against a placebo. So basically still do 6 weeks of group, still have people lay down with eye shades, still have them listen to the music, have them process inwardly, and then see, well, does a ketamine really do better than the placebo, or is it these other factors? So that remains to be determined. But I believe that is all. Thank you so much for listening to my presentation. Hope you all have a great day.